My name is Lawre Stone. I'm this week's studio visit artist for I Like Your Work. I live in the Hudson River Valley near Hudson, New York. And in my work, I primarily use acrylic and oil paint on canvas and also make works on paper. I began my career in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, where I established my painting practice and first began exhibiting my work. After 9/11, my family and I moved upstate to Columbia County, New York, and that move and switch of studios has had a profound impact on my work because now my studio is just a few steps outside to the natural world, and the organic environment, the natural environment, has had a deep impact on what I do today. I'd like to say a little bit about my process. Before I move on to the larger paintings, I always do a series of preliminary ink drawings. And these are all colored in black ink on paper, and they all are adapted from images of invasive species that are present here in Columbia County, New York. I think a lot about climate. I think a lot about the effects of human endeavor on the natural world. And that's brought me to really focusing on this botanical imagery from the local area. So once I work out some of the images in the ink drawings, then I feel really ready to blow up one of these images and put it in one of the paintings. So like, for example, this one right here, I can show you a painting where that image ended up. Once I get the images worked out in the drawings, then it's ready to blow them up onto the larger canvas. So these canvases are about 5 by 6, and I like that scale to really bring the plant form into almost a human-like scale, really give it some added life to it. So here I'm bringing together this atmospheric background, which I, in the beginning, create with layers and layers of very thin, luminous acrylic paint. The idea is to reference the landscape, but you'll notice I never paint in a horizon line. Instead, it's atmospheric, it's floating, and it becomes this kind of otherworldly environment for the plant forms to land. And so here we have this large flowering plant, kind of this drooping flowering plant with this really prominent kind of heavy root form. I think the roots are kind of the soul experience of the plant, the place where all the energy is, and I really love this idea of exposing them in the paintings. They're never buried. This is, I think I showed you this drawing a little earlier, another large, almost sunflower-like piece blown up on the canvas. Again, like the exposed roots are really important. When I'm working in this way too, I'm really sometimes thinking a little bit about the legacy of some of the artists that have come before me, especially some of the women artists from the 20th century. I think a lot about Georgia O'Keeffe, but I also think about some of the abstract expressionists like, Joan Mitchell, when I'm doing something like this. Looks okay. So this is a painting that I started at a residency in France last summer. And I shipped it home in a tube and then finished it and stretched it a couple of months ago. Thank you for touring my studio with I Like Your Work. You can find more of my work on my website, www.lawrestone.com, and on Instagram at Lawre Stone. And you can read a full interview about my practice on the I Like Your Work podcast.com/studio visit artist.